This is a quick introduction to Phocus. Phocus is the editing and capture software from Hasselblad. It's very much like Capture One and Lightroom, except that it is free, but it will only work with Hasselblad digital cameras. If you've watched the Capture One introduction video, you will know that Capture One doesn't actually support Hasselblad camera or camera files. So if you are using an Hasselblad digital camera as the one we have in the photographic department at the School of Art, Architecture and Design, we have the H6 cameras. You will need to use Phocus as your capture and editing software. Um, so this is how Phocus works. You can download it for free again from Hasselblad website, but you can obviously use it directly as it is installed on our computer at the school. So the way it looks is again very much like Lightroom or Capture One. You will have on the top a few quick access either to capture. So if you are shooting theaters, you can export or import images, modify is to copy adjustments to other images, and then you will have more layout presets. So this is quite good. You can decide how you want to see your images and how's your interface, but as a standard, that's how it would come. So on the left, you will have your library, and it's important to note that unlike Lightroom or Capture One, you don't need to build any catalog or session. It will work directly with the folders on your computer. Um, so that's where you browse your images. You've got a viewer here on the bottom that can be moved to the like to a vertical position if you especially useful if you're working with vertical images as you get a bigger viewing space. And at the bottom you've got all your toolbar with all the cursor and different tools you might need. And on the right there's 4 tabs. So the first one is the capture tab, where you can obviously shoot theater, so you can have a live view. I don't have any Hasselblad camera, so there's nothing connected to this software at the moment. But that's where you would have all the options to adjust the settings of your camera. You can shoot trigger the capture, see the live view, and then you can go and edit the image that you've just taken, and automatically with those adjustments will be applied to the next images, which is pretty good. The next one, the browse, is more or less like the metadata tab, where you can add info to your images, and you can see all the details from the file. The next one is the adjust, and it includes all the adjustments such as exposure, white balance, sharpness, and everything. So if you are used to Capture One, where it's divided in different tabs, in here everything is under one tab, which is called the adjust tab. And then the last one is the export, where you will be able to export your file using different outputs. So the tools will work similarly for all of those, which is you can obviously change your adjustments, and you can, if you click here, see how it was before and after. So, and it will work with all of those tabs. So you got the before and after. And if you'd like to have, let's have a look at this first. You can, if you click in here, decide to have the tab right here, if that's a better way for you to work. And if you close it, it will be back here. And you can add some tools which are there in the standard interface. So if you click in here, there's all those tools that you can add. So for example, you could add the camera tool in here, but still be in the adjustment. So that means you could trigger and then directly adjust your file. Or you can obviously click in here, so you have your camera settings in there, and then you can adjust your file there. Not that if you drag it as you would do in Capture One, you are just getting rid of it. But you can obviously always get it back here. So that's pretty much it. There's two ways you would work with images with Phocus. One is either you work tether, so your camera is connected to the computer, and as I said earlier, you would use the capture tab here to capture your files. And as you do so, the raw files, which are called 3FR, that's the raw file for Hasselblad. As soon as it will come to the Phocus software, they will be changed into a slightly different raw file, which will be just a 3F. And this will already have all the lens correction and preview capabilities. And it's not very important to know because it will do it automatically, but it's important if you are going to import images. So if you're working with a memory card in your camera and then you want to import to work with images on Phocus, you need to import there. So you don't want to drag with your computer folder, with your system folders, you don't want to just drag your files in there because otherwise you won't change, you won't have a change between those two raw files. So it's important to import every file you want to work with. So you would go through in the library, you would locate your files, then select all the files that you want to import, and then click on here, import tab, and you can change the name of the folders. It will usually go into the Phocus capture, and then just click import, and it will go there. And so now you would be able to preview your images, and it will also apply all the lens adjustments. So that's the important bit to remember. If you're shooting from on a memory card, make sure you import your file using the import tab in Phocus rather than just drag your files from your system folder. If you would like to learn more about Phocus, there are some material online. You can just Google it or go onto Hasselblad website and you will have access to more details about this Hasselblad software.